And it's really my pleasure to stand here in front of you to talk about one of my passions, educational technology. I've been working for many, many years in that field, and so I was honored that our rector, Luc Sels, asked me to become his vice rector, and he also gave me the responsibility. One of the responsibilities is to be responsible for educational technology. So it was really an offer I couldn't refuse, honestly. Gonna talk about going digital, staying human, and give you some insights into the strategy of KU Leuven at the level of the use of educational technology. And then, that's the first part. The second part will be focusing on what we do with AI and how we could use AI in our educational context at university, but larger too. And so I'd like to start by 7 key principles that are driving our organization, that are driving the use of educational technology at KU Leuven, and I hope at a larger level too. First principle. It's all about strategy. Of course, it's all about culture, because culture eats strategy. But let's start from the idea that it's all about strategy. If educational technology, if media and learning is not part of the strategy of a university, we are lost in paradise. I don't know whether university is a paradise, but okay. Without strategy, lost in paradise. That's why in 2017, when we started here at KU Leuven, Luc Sels and our team, we decided to opt for 5 strategic options that are transversal throughout the whole university: truly international, future-oriented education, going digital, interdisciplinarity, and sustainability. As you see, going digital is one of the 5 strategic priorities of our plan for our university. The idea being that we wouldn't make the difference during our period only, but that we would like to introduce a kind of digital transformation that is long-lasting within our university and our organization. And why did we do so? For many, many reasons. We want better learning and assessment interaction with future-oriented education. We want new learning contexts, not only the, let's say, the auditorium, the lecture hall activities. We want better incoming students, because in Belgium, we are not only, KU Leuven is not only a comprehensive university, but there is also completely free access to our university, except in medicine. And we want better study results, because the dropout in our system, because of that, or linked to, not because of, but linked to that open access, is important. And we want to lower that dropout. We want to internationalize in a more intensive way. That's one of the reasons we highly engaged into the development of MOOCs on the edX platform, but not only that. And then there was the pandemic, as you all know, and going digital became very, very important. But unfortunately, it was a kind of a paradox, because during the 2 years of the pandemic, my responsibility of educational technology became almost my only responsibility, or very, very dominant. And we were relatively well prepared for the pandemic, especially in learning, media, teaching, but not in assessment, honestly. That's what we did after the pandemic. But globally speaking, KU Leuven managed, I think. The problem was, only started after the pandemic. Our teaching staff didn't want to invest anymore in technology. They wanted to stay human, and they were right. There was a kind of counterbalance movement in our organization. And that's why in our second term, we transformed going digital into going digital, but staying human, and go for a fully integrated blended learning. Of course, you all know blended learning is a kind of buzzword, and whenever you use already a small piece of technology, you're blending. That's not what you understand by blended learning. We want a fully integrated blended learning approach, step by step, but fully integrated. It's all about strategy. Second principle. It's all about transformation, of course. We want to transform our organization, and it's easier said than done. I like very much this model, the Sammer model. In many, many cases, we situate ourselves at the level of enhancement, mere substitution of analog activities, classroom activities, or a small augmentation of those activities. However, what we need is the real digital transformation of our educational system, and not only of our educational system, where we have modification, so a significant redesign of our activities, and even redefinition. Technology is the tail that wags the dog, not only evaluation and assessment, but technology is changing the whole organization. But it's not the main, is one of the drivers, but not the main goal. That's clear. Example of a modification, the transformation from online exams towards digital assessment platform. We introduced the ANS platform. The Dutch colleagues may know very well that platform. We preferred it over a Flemish solution. Where we evolved from predefined online exams to digital assessment. You all know what you understand by that. Calibrated item pools, scenarios, exams that, and assessment sessions that can be compared to each other with learning analytics on it, and so on and so forth. And we opted for modification and redefinition. So the two advanced levels of transformation. Modification, combining paper-based and digital administration of formative as well as summative tests with the ANS platform, essentially, but not only, because we made it part of a larger tooling set. That's always the strategy. That's the third strategy, you'll see it. It's about integration, but that's my third principle. Transformation, integrating not only Blackboard is our backbone, but also ANS, Turnitin, feedback fruits, book widgets, Poll Everywhere, and so on and so forth. But more importantly, this is part of a redefinition of the evaluation policy at KU Leuven, which makes that, and which means that going digital, staying human, is one of the drivers for future-oriented education. The way we conceive assessment and evaluation is transformed. The way we look at organization of exams is transformed. Do we still have to focus on those final exams only? What about bring your own device? What about the, let's say, the balance between paper exams and digital exams? And can we integrate both? Or is there a link between both? And so on and so forth. Do we need exam halls, etc., examination halls, etc., etc.? Third principle, it's all about integration. We don't want individual silos. We don't want, let's say, we don't want throughout our whole organization too many different options. You'll see why in a moment. We integrate everything. And Blackboard is our backbone and the SAP administrative system. First of all, we link both those systems. This is the administration system, enrollment, evaluation, certification, and so on, credits, and so on and so forth. That's the SAP solution, and we fully integrate it with what we call Toledo solution. Toledo, you all know, it refers to that fantastic Spanish reality. It stands also for toetsen en leren doeltreffend ondersteunen. That's perhaps for the Dutch people in the room a bit, well, it's empowerment of teaching and learning, so that's perhaps a bit less attractive. But we wanted to change the name of Toledo, and we did a vote on it, and our students said, no, we want Toledo. That was unbelievable. They wanted Toledo. I guess it's more because of the Spanish reality than because of the technological reality. But anyway, changing from Blackboard to Blackboard Ultra didn't imply a change of name of Toledo. Here we integrate everything, as you see. And that's very, very important, so that for the end user, there's only but one access to all technological solutions. It's very, very simple. The back office is complicated, but there too, media, Kaltura, for instance, is fully integrated in the whole system. Push button, for, let's say, the average user. We have advanced solutions, you'll see that in a moment, for advanced users, but the average user, there it should be push button. One cable, push button. Otherwise, they won't use it. It's all about scalability. Fourth principle. We are active on 13, meanwhile 14 campuses in 10 cities across Flanders. Imagine. 65,000 students spread over that reality. And we are linked to 5 university colleges. On the whole, 115,000 students, 43% of Flemish higher education is linked to KU Leuven. You can imagine that their scalability is key. And so an innovation that is not scalable is useless, at least at the level of the operational reality. What I'm doing in my research is completely different. There we focus on non-scalable solutions at first level, and to see then in a second step how they can be made scalable. That's another issue. But I'm standing here as a vice rector of KU Leuven. From that point of view, innovation should be scalable or is not. That's why we created the Course Creation Center within KU Leuven Learning Lab, existing since 2017. And we are tremendously proud of that reality. So proud that in the room there are at least 7 more speakers that will be talking about KU Leuven Learning Lab throughout this conference. So thank you all sitting in the room here, guys, responsible for the realization of that fantastic reality, KU Leuven Learning Lab. And the latest invention, the latest formula of KU Leuven Lab is the Course Creation Services activity, and I think there will be another presentation throughout the conference on this reality. Where we have a kind of two-way solution. There is the overall solution, the push-button integrated solution that is scalable in production and in use, both in production and not only in use. And you have the MOOC platform that's a cherry on the cake that's scalable in use, but not in production. You have a MOOC team that produces and integrates into the team of Anke and of educational services and so on, and of our technological services. There too, we bring together technology, multimedia, and education. That's crucial. It's interdisciplinarity. So we have our Toledo solution with all kind of functionalities, and here you see behind those buttons all type of applications are activated, but we have also the cherry on the cake, the edX platform with, well, a portfolio we are quite proud of, with a quite intensive impact also worldwide. But we want to change that in a certain sense. We want to higher the impact of our MOOCs portfolio on the regular curricula with the MOOCs for Credit system that is already in place in a limited, under a limited form. We want to intensify this year that activity, and also for lifelong learning. There too, that's one of the top priorities for the coming academic year. 5, it's all about agility. We should be agile in our organization. Quicker said than done, especially in an organization of the size we have to face. But we have a solution for that, and that's the production cycle we have put in place, and it first started with the technology guys, but now we are using it also with the education and with the multimedia, and we all are entering that strategy in 4 steps. First step, design and build incrementally. Not the whole system at once, but step by step, and see what's the impact of first iterations. Second, set priorities. Do the right things first, and have a decision process on what things should be developed first. And let not the technology expert decide themselves only on those priorities, but the whole institution, so that the adoption rate afterwards is maximal. 3, focus, focus, focus. And eliminate waiting time. be effective. Short-term, good results. Short-term with high impact and high gain. And fourth, synchronized cadence between all those processes. So that's why I'm not going to enter into the details. You can have access to the presentation. This is for the first step, design and build incrementally. Epics, yeah, that are the large strategic decisions, but within the epics we have initiatives, features, and stories. And the more you move toward the stories, the less is, let's say, the degree of impact this has on the development capacities of our teams. Set priorities. This is our governance system. Seems complicated, is less complicated than you would think, but the whole organization is involved, up to the board. So for the top line, for the first level of the operation, the board of our university is responsible. That's very, very important. But once the board has decided on that top level, they don't intervene anymore in the other levels. There is a kind of autonomy at each level, but reporting. There is responsibility, but of course, you should be accountable also for what you do. Third, we have Kanban, the Kanban approach, and here we make the difference between UID preparation, backlog implementation, finished. That's in small teams where policymakers are involved, technology experts, educational experts, and we make those kind of Kanban boards. Also throughout the association with our university colleges, we co-decide on this Kanban reality. And finally, synchronized cadence between everything. That's the fifth principle. Sixth principle, very, very important one. That's the culture, in a certain sense. That is strategy. It's all about people. 10 minutes left, great. Only about 50 slides, so that's wonderful. What a good news, Anke. It's all about people. So it's all about KU Leuven network. It's all about KU Leuven Learning Lab. A whole network throughout our organization, whether you're a professor, a teaching assistant, an administrative responsible. We all have our responsibilities and we have to join forces. That's KU Leuven Learning Lab. It's all about evidence-based practice. Yes, also in multimedia. I take the example of extended reality. I shouldn't explain to you what's the added value of extended reality, of course. But just in biomedical sciences, for instance, we have the WhiskyLab solution. And you're testing small solutions with limited numbers of groups of students. And if there is impact, if the users say, this is okay, we go for it. And that's the reason why we have a whole unit on multimedia in our group of biomedical sciences. A top unit with 5, 6 responsibles that do a wonderful job together with the doctors, that are professors themselves too, have not much time to invest in teaching and are highly enthusiastic. Of course, not all of them. It's always, let's say, 80% or 20% of the staff does 80% of the job. That's normal. That's a principle we all know, but it helps. Same thing for basic life support. There too, and that's not only in the Faculty of Medicine. It's throughout our university. I even did the test. Imagine. I don't say I was particularly proficient, but I tried to. Dental prosthesis simulator. Dental prosthesis, very complicated. First, and there too, it's a proof of concept that we now roll out throughout the whole training program. So yes, multimedia does make the difference, unless, let's say, under the condition that we can have evidence that this does make the difference, and that we have educational evidence for the added value realized through extended reality. And at KU Leuven, it is the case. Thanks to the, let's say, the visionary work of Anke's team. There are many people from the team sitting even behind curtains over there. The technicians are, and they are not technicians, they are experts. They are top experts, also in education. So I want to say a very, very sincere thanks to them. We know each other quite well, and thanks a lot. It's all about people. AI in education. Second part, 7 minutes left, I guess. That's not a problem, because Martin will have a talk only on artificial intelligence. Why do we do it? We have the realists, the euphorics, the skeptics. We are realists. So we don't go for the replacement movement, nor for the banning movement. We go for the augmentation movement. AI augments the power of teachers, of learners, and of the institution at large. Why do we do that? At learner level, empowerment. What does that mean? Enhancing effectivity, hiring effectivity. You see what kind of actions we can undertake. I won't read that. But also agency. The learner takes agency, but then you should understand how AI works. And that's what Martin will explain to you. So that's a wonderful keynote. Please be concentrated. So now, relax. We have 5 minutes. If you want to disconnect, it's now you should do it, because in a moment you will have an AI top expert explaining you how it works. It's so important. Teacher empowerment. Once again, effectivity and agency, and the synergy between technology and the human. And then we have institutional empowerment. Yes, then we are talking about efficiency, but efficiency to higher effectivity, because then we can identify students at risk, predict dropout. Remember the initial slide on the strategy. That's our ambition, that's our strategy. And AI helps us realize our strategy. At that moment, I'm a happy person. What can we do? I adore the taxonomy of Holmes and Tuomi. It's on AI-based tooling, not on the use of AI in education and assessment. That's another problem. Then it's on the impact. How do we have to change tasks since AI is a reality? That's not the ambition of this taxonomy. This taxonomy is about tooling. How do we integrate AI in the tools with impact at the level of the learner, the teacher, and the institution? I have plenty of concrete examples of those elements. You'll find that in my presentation. I'll skip that more or less. But let's take, for instance, the learner-focused artificial intelligence in education. For instance, what can we do? Adaptive vitamin sequencing. We do it for, well, 5-6 years, or even more. Taalzeerekentuin, for the Dutch colleagues in the room, is a top adaptive application based on calibrated pools and on the ELO rating system. It's fantastic technology, integrated in a wonderful educational environment. What do we do here at PhD level with Julie Hepen? We are trying to adapt the feedback, and so to empower the learner throughout his learning journey in the adaptive tool. And to what can we adapt? Not only to cognitive parameters, but also, that's the learner ability, but also to the linguistic complexity, for instance, of the input. If we talk about large language models, we are talking about language and complexity in language, not only form, but also meaning and the interaction between both. If we talk about open-ended tasks, we can generate without any problem open-ended tasks. The correction of those open-ended tasks is speeding up impressively, but really impressively. So we should focus on that. Alternative formats, so that we can optimize the accessibility for learners with disabilities. Very, very important. The holistic view on learning, thanks to AI. At teacher level, content generation, and so on and so forth, I will be skipping all that. And what's next? Of course, reports and that kind of stuff. Risks. Yes, there are risks, and we should monitor those risks at the 3 levels: learner, teacher, institution. But it's not a reason to go for the banning movement. It's not a reason to be naive and to go for the replacement movement. Because of course there are risks, but AI is here to stay. AI is here to stay. And we are, let's say in the beginning, it was essentially machine learning and pattern recognition, but now we are moving towards the interaction between form and meaning, and that's fantastic. That's what we need in education, that interaction between form and meaning, and the next step, pragmatics, context, and the referential world. I have 2 cherries on my cake, and my cake should be finished, I guess, Anke. First is, we developed, well, a kind of MOOC, but not on a MOOC platform, so it's simply an online course. It's not so impressive as to what the title is concerned, but I hope the contents do please you. The content pleases you. We developed an interactive online course on AI in education with plenty of videos, with plenty of interactive activities, with it's learning by doing through interactive activities, not through lectures, as I'm doing here. Sorry about that, but they asked me to do so. Well, that's an excuse. I shouldn't evoke, but okay. This is a course already, well, a lot. We want to create a community around that course, and that's, well, what we are doing now with, well, we are evolving towards, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 users of the course in a couple of weeks. So please join the community. It's for free. You just have to register, and then off we go. Off we go. And the second one is we made a positioning paper with our research team. This has, well, nothing to do with KU Leuven. This is my other responsibility. Head of a research team, Edtech, part of IMEC, the interdisciplinary research team on hardware and software in Flanders, Inter-University Center of Excellence. And we are responsible with our team for education and for lifelong learning in IMEC. I'm a core professor, academic director of smart education within IMEC. And we realized a kind of positioning paper with 2 parts. The first part, theoretical synthesis with references and so on and so forth. Second part, concrete examples of research we are doing with references also to more information, also the coordinates of the researchers that are working on that, so that there too, at the research level, we can create a kind of community. This is the first report, the version 2024. We are always a bit ambitious, so look out for the version 2034. We'll see. No, I hope to have a version 2025, but it's not so evident to create this kind of reports. But there too, the report is for free. If you really want a paper version, we do have them, but in principle, yeah, there is the digital version. Let's do the wheels. Let the wheels do the walking. Yes, AI is not perfect for the moment. Extended reality is not perfect. Technology is not perfect. But are we as humans perfect? If you look at assessment, we say, for assessment, there is a kind of, well, problem at the range level of 9.5, so 0.5 is problematic. Think about what is the, let's say, the level of proficiency of a human corrector, especially for oral exams. Just think about it. So let the wheels do the walking. We do have the wheels, but we don't use them every time at institution level. So this is also KU Leuven. Also KU Leuven. We have perhaps three good wheels, but you need 4 good wheels to have an optimal strategy. And so my final slide is a kind of philosophical consideration. Wisdom is knowing what to do next. That's what you all know. Skill is knowing how to do it. No problem at all in this room. And virtue is doing it. That's what I wish that everyone here in the room is able to realize. I wish a lot of wisdom, skill, and virtue at institutional level in all of your institutions. And thank you so much for enabling that, let's say, that strategy throughout the whole international community, and thanks to Media and Learning, the Media and Learning Conference, to enhance that movement. Thank you so much.